welcome back to Studio F on Fast Times Willy B. We'll be reviewing Longlegs. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
I wasn't ready for this. Russell.
Welcome back to Fast Times Willy B. I'm Willy B. I got Kory back. Kory, how we doing?
Pretty disturbed.
Pretty disturbed?
As of right now, I'm pretty disturbed.
Is it because of the movie we watched?
No, just thinking about politics and stuff. I don't like what's happening. Just kidding. It is because of the movie.
Okay.
I'm really not that disturbed. We talked about a lot of junk before we started recording this.
So today we'll be reviewing Longlegs.
Yeah.
The latest film from Osgood Perkins. A lot of claims on this film from early reception.
Some bold claims.
Yes. You got people saying that this is the best serial killer thriller since Silence of the Lambs. Mm-hmm. As a David Fincher fan, that made me excited, but also made me
skeptical.
Yeah, they just not watch Zodiac and Seven. And then, you got people claiming that this is an Oscar-worthy performance from Nicolas Cage. And obviously the scores are very high, but we're going to break it down today.
We will dive into that, and we will decide for you.
Starting with the cast, we have Micah Monroe, who we both didn't even realize until, right before this movie.
The only reason I found out yesterday is because there was a thing, Discussing Film posted a thing that was like, Nicolas Cage discusses how he's liked Micah Monroe since It Follows and has always wanted to work with her, and I went, oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well,
okay.
Because in that movie, she's blonde, and then once I saw it, I was like, oh, my God, it is her.
She's still blonde. It's just, dirty blonde. You know what else? She's also aged about 10 years. So.
Well, yeah. No, not 10 years. When did It Follows come out? 17? It's 7 years.
Was it 17? I thought that movie was 2011.
Is it that old?
Am I insane? I'm pretty sure it's 2011.
No, that's besides the point.
Fair enough.
Micah Monroe in this one, she plays Lee, Agent Lee, our main character, and yes, she is from It Follows. Mm-hmm. We got Nicolas Cage as Longlegs, and he's in a filmography that we cannot list off because it will take 45 minutes.
Yes, and most of it isn't good.
Well, I like Nick Cage.
He literally will be the first person to tell you that he did everything and anything.
But Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Then you got Blair Underwood, obviously as Carter. And then Kiernan Shipka makes an appearance in this movie. Happy to see her face when she came on screen. I was like, oh my gosh, is that Kiernan Shipka, the lady from Totally Killer? And so I looked it up real quick in Letterboxd in the middle of the theater, and I was like, oh my God, it is Kiernan Shipka.
That's a good movie.
But, very good movie. Mm-hmm. So we'll start with the good. This was an interesting movie. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start by saying this is not the best serial killer thriller.
Sorry to disappoint. Well, let's just get into it. Yeah,
since Silence of the Lambs.
I wouldn't.
However, there is a lot of good in this film.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I might actually have more good than you this time.
You think?
Maybe.
I mean, the obvious one's the acting. I think Micah Monroe was phenomenal as this weird, awkward. I don't even know. Yeah.
Damaged. There was even kind of a moment, I can't say specifically, but there was a moment where something happened and she was giving hardcore, is she on the spectrum vibes?
Honestly. And she plays, obviously, Agent Lee Harker, and she's our main character. She's basically, if you're going to compare this to Silence of the Lambs, she's our Jodie Foster in this movie.
Yeah, obviously.
But she's obviously a lot more awkward. Socially awkward, weird.
No kidding.
But she almost has this psycho, or what is it? Telepathic, I should say.
Yeah, she's kind of. They kind of hint that she maybe has some intuition
enhancement.
Yeah, she's what are those people? Not a medium. What somebody who kind of gets a psycho? Not a psycho.
A psychonaut.
A psychonaut? That was your best guess? No, they hint that it's like a power.
Yeah.
Just where you have the intuition or whatever.
Yeah, but she...
I can't believe I'm blanking on that word right now.
But she, did really well.
Yeah,
I mean, she was fantastic. I thought she was great in It Follows. And right here, this
is her best performance.
Well, yeah, and there's...
Between those two movies, I guess.
I haven't seen a lot of her movies. I don't even know what else she's in other than these two.
I don't know what else she's in.
This is, out of those two, I agree, this is the best performance she's ever given. I think it's... I mean, it's not Oscar-worthy, but this makes me excited to see her in more stuff.
Sure.
For sure.
Sure.
Nicolas Cage, definitely not Oscar-worthy, but a great performance.
I won't say Oscar-worthy either. I would say definitely up there. And honestly, if he got nominated for this, I wouldn't be mad. Because I don't think it's out of the question.
I wouldn't be mad either.
It's just the way people were like, this is his Oscar. It's like, no. But to be honest, I don't know if I can think of a better Nick Cage performance, to be honest.
I thought he was really good in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
I haven't seen that. That's been on my list for a long time.
It's a really good movie.
I've never seen it. But to be fair, he gets to literally just play himself that whole movie.
That's fair. But I agree with that. You know, when it comes to supporting actor, I wouldn't be surprised if he's nominated. But I definitely don't think it's winner worthy. But you get your Nicolas Cage. You get the screaming. You get the goofball. You get all of that. But in a role that really fits him.
Yeah, this is definitely the most... Because we've all seen him do, like, the insane... We've even seen him be, like, you know, killers or insane people or whatever. I've seen him as Dracula.
Yeah.
Like, but I've never seen him take it this... I've never gotten to see him be this serious.
Yeah.
About it. And even then, like... He fits the role really well. There are still some of the Nick Cage isms that I would have shaved off the top.
Yeah.
But I actually think this could have been like a near perfect performance if some of those things were taken off.
A scene that really stands out when talking about the two performances is the interview between them and like the interrogation scene.
Yeah.
Where Lee goes in and she's basically trying to get out of him who's accomplice, and he kind of spills the beans a little bit on how things work on what he's doing, and then all of a sudden he says like, "I'll be gone, but a part of me will still be all over the place," and then he just wails. He does the talk to me. Just wails his head on the table.
Yeah. It's the talk to me, the hereditary. Yeah.
Insane. And
that was that
really
caught me by surprise.
Really good scene. It shows the strength of both of these actors very well. And while we're at it, in that scene, let's shout out, obviously makeup was on point the entire movie, but effects were really good there.
Absolutely.
The blood looked insane. The prosthetics are, everything they did for Nicolas Cage's.
After that last time he slammed his head, like his nose was broken
missing,
off,
teeth were out. Like, yeah.
It was tough to look at.
Yeah.
I mean, all around the whole movie, he was tough to look at.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be for real. And that's another thing that honestly we should shout out. Obviously, we just shouted out hair and makeup, but they did a really good job hiding him, but not hiding him as much as you'd expect throughout this whole movie, where you get to see him actually quite a bit, but it's always for like a second, so you don't get to quite... Your mind fills in a lot of blanks, because you get like half a second of where you're like, okay, what was... The first time we saw him, it really freaked me out.
It was almost like Tiny Tim meets Carrot Top.
Tiny Tim meets Carrot Top. Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
The hair is lighter than Carrot Top.
There's a Rocky Dennis in there with that like big-ass forehead.
The complexion's Carrot Top, but kind of like that Tiny Tim look.
Yeah, Carrot Top's a weird-looking person. I don't like looking at him.
Yeah.
But you're right.
But no, they did a really good job, like you said, hiding him. Mm-hmm. Just shout out again to makeup and hair and costumes and... something you mentioned after we left the theater is that this kind of felt like at the beginning holdovers, and it did feel like that in a sense that like this movie felt like it was shot before its time.
Absolutely.
Especially starting, in almost a square set screen and then obviously expanding to the widescreen.
Yeah, that I think that's a 4:3 format.
Yeah.
It was interesting at first. Also, we'll get to that later, but it was interesting to look at. But also the holdovers kind of thing of it was that it was like you get the winter.
Yeah.
There's a lot of obviously, whenever you go back to the 70s, a lot of people remember those weird green carpets and whatever. And we're what, in like the 90s in this movie, I think?
I think so.
But it kind of had that aesthetic of the 70s in a weird way. But they went a lot of like the direction of kind of the woody cabin look for a lot of things, especially Micah Monroe's house.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding? What kind of psychopath buys this house, first of all?
Yeah, I know. They reference a few things in the movies that let you know that this is obviously a throwback. And as far as time and setting goes. But
I thought they were going for like timeless at first, where they have a bit of everything. But then eventually it is pretty solidly stated out that it's the 90s, obviously.
When watching this movie, so there's a little bit of elements. It was cool because you could feel them kind of paying homage to a lot of different movies.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We were talking about this again outside of the theater. It had Zodiac elements in the sense that Longlegs leaves his cryptic message, and then you have elements.
Maybe they were paying homage to the Batman there, Will. I don't know about that.
Well, maybe.
Which pays homage to Zodiac. I'm just kidding.
But, and then in senses, it does have some moments where it feels like the Silence of the Lambs. There's moments where it feels very Black Phone to me. And that might be, we have a horror character. The villain is pale faced, just like Bagul and the Grabber. But it just elements of it, the strong message with this is surrounding kids, and the kids get the message on their birthday, and they're basically getting this possessed doll that forces the father to kill the whole family and commit suicide. It's just, it had that feel of like the Black Phone Sinister stuff in that sense. So it was cool because like, albeit still a unique film and it set itself apart, I like what it looked like they took from other movies as inspiration.
Yeah. They definitely weren't hiding from it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm definitely now, I'm going to be interested to see what the director has to say about this film from now on out. Because, like, obviously, all the things we just mentioned, but also a trope that I'm oddly finding that I'm kind of a fan for whatever reason. Excuse me. Is the movies that do like you have a villain or antagonist or whatever, and it's somebody is in prison that's obviously a bad person, but the movie goes on after that. I think if you can nail that, that's like my favorite thing in the world. Obviously, like the Batman, Seven, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal's already locked up, but just. For some reason, that's like a weird trope that I've grown to like a lot, and especially with this. Once he gets captured, I was kind of underwhelmed because I'm like, oh, is this really where it's at? And then finding that there's an accomplice and all this other stuff, and then once it gets to where it eventually goes to end, I'm like, oh, I see where you were going with that. That's why I didn't speak too soon on that.
I like the twist that we get. I like the this whole movie, you kind of feel like he has an accomplice because how are all these murders happening? I like the I like the twist that it's more of like a demonic possession that's causing it than a serial killer. So when you hear all the hype in this movie and everybody's talking about how it's such a great serial killer movie, it's really not a serial killer movie.
It's not. I think that's the biggest thing about why I'm still having trouble like putting my thoughts and feelings into a conjoined message about how I feel about this movie, because I'm like, it's just not at all what I was expecting.
No.
I was going in thinking like, Zodiac, Seven, even like Prisoners, like just the dark noir. And it's like, it is that, but it's like, it was way more demonic than I thought.
Yeah.
Like, to a point where I was disturbed.
And the twist that, being her mom is the accomplice, Lee's mom is the accomplice, because she basically sold her soul so they would spare the daughter.
Yeah.
And the shots we get with the devil in the backdrop and the eyes and the dolls, I thought that was all scary.
It was creepy.
And,
I was on top.
That's what you expect. That's what you want.
Yeah,
at least.
And even from two people like me and you aren't necessarily religious or the most religious people in the world, but I definitely at moments I was like, God, it's a little.
Yeah.
I can imagine having to edit that and just constantly just be staring at that crap. Like, God.
It was really well done. When you go into a horror movie, you like being scared, and they did a good job here. The thing that kind of made me wonder if the mom had something to do with it is when she's making her soup and a cockroach comes out from under the door. You didn't catch it, but I did. When she's like looking for the key and it turns back facing her, you see devil horns in the door window, in the front door.
Was it the shadowy?
Yeah.
But see, I caught those a few different times, but that time I missed it. Because that time I was locked in on on that door, which I knew that door was. I mean, obviously, that's what the cockroach coming out of it.
Yeah.
A black beetle or a cockroach, whatever that symbolism. Yeah. So I obviously knew that was something.
Yeah.
And where that ended up leading to I thought was great.
Yeah.
But just what yeah. Yeah, I don't know. See, that's what I'm talking about, though. I just keep blanking because I'm like, I'm going to have to wrap my head around this one for a while.
Yeah, no, it had a lot of good elements to it. It was shot very well.
And even the nun imagery. There's a lot of, evil nun stuff, which I was kind of like, this is kind of like the Nun, too.
You're talking like when they have the blanket over the dolls and you see the yellow eyes?
Yes. Later on, you find out it's that. And I'm like, that's even worse, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, all of the... I mean, I'm almost getting, goosebumps right now, talking about it.
I get it.
All of the demonic presence of this movie, very unsettling, disturbing, but it fits, and I thought it was really well done. Mm-hmm. I thought it was tasteful. As tasteful as you can get with the content matter at hand.
Yeah.
Or subject matter,
There's definitely some of those things that I was like, if I was in that movie, I'm like, I don't know if I want to say that line.
Yeah. Especially, Nicolas Cage.
Thank you. I was like... I was kind of like, I kind of hope you don't say it, because I don't even like speaking that shit into
when he
existence.
Says, hail, yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Some of that stuff, I'm like, man, I don't even want to joke around with that shit. He
says, hail the figure from down below.
Yeah, the friend from downstairs, I think they said.
Yeah.
Which from the beginning, when he's talking about that shit, you're like, obviously.
It's the devil, yeah.
And then also, what a twist, because her having a friend... The mom having a friend from downstairs. He was literally down in her basement.
Yeah.
That's something that just clicked with me.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. It just blows my mind that she's this FBI agent looking for Longlegs, and her entire life he lived
in her basement.
Yeah. Well, and that's what makes that line from the other FBI agent so powerful when she asks where he's at. Mm-hmm. And what's his name? Cobbles? Where's Cobbles?
Yeah.
And she's like, downstairs, right below you, right below your feet. It makes that stronger.
I didn't even think about
her entire life.
In the interview room or the police conjure room or whatever the fuck you want.
The interrogation room.
Yeah. It wasn't even that. It was like the room where they had a VHS tape and they were like, let's talk about what we're going to SWAT next or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Right under your... I didn't even think about that at all.
Her entire life, he's been right under her feet.
That's insane. And pretty early on, I got the feeling that there was a lot of, suppressed memories and shit. It's pretty obvious from the beginning. And it didn't take me long at all to figure out that she was the kid from the beginning.
Yeah.
But just where they went in that direction...
God. The direction, speaking on direction, people are calling this a masterpiece from Perkins, and I'm not going to take that away from him. I'm not saying it. I don't personally think it's a masterpiece, but hell of a direction from Perkins, and this movie was very well written, and I think a name that I didn't know before this movie, I will remember.
I would agree with that. I might actually give it the title, the rank of Jedi Master.
Yeah.
I might give it the rank of Master. At least for this genre, for what he was trying to achieve.
That's fair.
I don't think there's anything he could have done better.
That's what I mean.
I don't know if there's anybody.
That's for sure. Like when we were talking about serial killer thriller, it's not the best one of those all time.
Sure.
But when you're talking about something that really dabbles this deep into the presence of Satan, they did it so well.
Yeah, they did it in a way that, because it's weird, because when I came out of that movie, I was like, God, I really hate watching all that satanic shit, whatever. And then it hit me, I was like, I've seen a bunch of movies that dabble in this kind of thing, and it never bothered me like it did this time.
Because they really went all the way.
Because they went too deep.
They went deep.
Deep enough that whenever we were walking out, there was a man that was easily in his late 60s. I was like, no fucking way he enjoyed this movie. No way.
One thing I saw was that this movie makes you second look, take a second look at dark corners. The rest, after you're watching this movie.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I wasn't too mad that I came over here right after the movie, honestly.
Yeah,
when I walked out of that movie, I will say the first thing I did, I was like, I'm listening to a nice podcast about stupid things.
Yeah.
Comic books.
And that's exactly true. When I read that, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then after leaving the theater, I was like, Yep. I'm not sleeping good tonight.
Yeah, I live alone now.
Good thing I got my dogs and Rosie.
Yeah, that's probably going to weird me out tonight, I'm not going to lie.
You want to sleep on our spare bed?
I might.
But no, like, it does. And it's a lot of
it creeps you out more in the real world than it does oh, that movie was scary. It's like, oh, that shit's...
Yeah.
It feels too real.
Well, it's the way it's shot, too. You know, even when we're out at her house in the cabin scenes and you have him running in the house while she's outside, and then this whole time you're watching her open this letter and you just see the kitchen, you're just waiting.
I know. You did the same thing. They set that up intentionally to where you're watching that kitchen. But I was like, whenever it got to the end of that, I was like, ooh.
And then you see these shadowy figures in the woods. You see these shadowy figures all the time when she's looking out the one window, too, that's not even at her house. You see the demonic horns in the window and just all over the place. Like, it's one of those movies that makes the shadows scary.
God, what was there was the one part at the end where she went into her, I don't know if it's her partner or whoever, her boss.
Looks like her boss, yeah.
I think it sounds like Carter. Yeah. And she walks into his house and you see that the devil thing showed up like on the door last second as she's walking through.
Yeah.
Like that, there's just a lot of that.
Yeah.
And like a lot there's a lot of just things being thrown at you. And I will say that one of the best things about this movie is you really don't know what's going on through most of it.
Yeah, but you're locked in because you want to know.
See, that's the thing. I was locked in the whole movie. That's why I'm like, I can't give it lower than probably a 9, maybe. I don't know. I will figure it out at the end.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I literally could not stop looking at this thing that I didn't want to look at, by the way.
Something that Hunter said, too, when we were leaving the theater, this movie was really well paced.
Good pacing.
I was never checking the time, ever.
Editing was fucking solid in this movie. And considering how much of the movie was flashbacks, just like glimpses of imagery again.
Yeah.
Or just she would kind of get these psychic. That was the word we were looking for earlier.
Psychic? That's what the word you were looking for?
Psychic.
I thought you were looking for something special.
No, psychic. She was getting psychic glimpses of different things happening. You know, at one point she looks at the doll and she sees like a psychic. Whatever the fuck. And then also I love how by the end it's like, oh, she's psychic about this shit because she has some sort of like a satanic link to it. Cause I even hate saying that word, Will. Yeah. Why am I doing this?
Yeah. Another shout out in the good. That one clip that scared the ever-living shit out of both of us.
What was that? I don't even remember what it was.
I don't know, but we looked at each other and I was like, that scared the hell out of me.
Actually scared
And you're
me.
Like, dude, that scared me too. And I was like, I don't know what that was, but that was good.
It was him. It was Cobble.
Yeah, but it was like almost like a flash of him on the screen while she's like having one of her episodes.
It might have been that or something. I mean, at the beginning of the movie, they also scared me. Not as bad as that time that we're talking about.
When it turns and it's just his mouth down.
Well, that, and then, that got me, like, jump scare got me pretty good. But then it got me, like, internally creeped me out whenever he finally drops down to where you can see his face for half a second. That shot still sticks with me, actually.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that sticks with me.
This movie went right into it, too, because right after that little flashback scene where we get our first interaction between Lee and Cobbles, which we don't even know is Lee at the time. Mm-hmm. It's her and her first like assignment in the FBI, and she's like, he's in that house, I know it. And her partner goes up, knocks on the door, and it's like right in the head.
Oh, what the opening was, the entire first like 20 minutes of this movie was fucking great.
Yeah,
because that really had me like, all right, you have my attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all. And then it's not even him. It's a different case.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me when I was in college, we had to always focus on the hook, get people's attention.
Absolutely.
And I had one kid in my class, he goes, so raise your hand if you've ever been shot by a gun. And we're all like, what the hell? And he goes, neither have I, but now that I have your attention. That's what that scene felt like.
Nice. I mean, honestly, a good beginning and a good ending can trick you into thinking a bad movie's better than what it is.
For sure.
I mean, God forsake.
What else do you have in the good? I think I've said my piece.
We talked about that. Let's just in general, the layout of some of these scenes. again, with the pacing and stuff like that, just like
The structure.
things that catch you off guard. Like the part where Mom has the shotgun at the car window.
Insanity.
I don't usually, when we've watched enough movies, when we watch anything, we both sit like this, and we don't need to talk about it, and we're fine. Whenever I saw her in the back window, I remember doing like one of these.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. Dude. Tense is the best way to describe this movie. This movie has you on the edge of your seat most of the movie.
Oh, I was like teetering on a panic attack for half the movie.
Yeah. The tension is there.
It's that tense. Half the movie. I'm not just saying that. Especially at the beginning, I was like, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
You know? And then like there's just like a lot of creepy things that, like anything with the dog, where the dog gets brought up in the farmhouse.
Yeah.
You know, I even got creeped out at the part where the dude was like, yeah, I pulled this like metal ball out of her head, and I swear I thought it was saying something about my ex-wife or my wife or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. And then like, and also something I really want to talk about. So good. Whenever she wakes up from blacking out or whatever the hell. Yeah. First of all, you see the lair in the basement. You're like, okay, I should have saw that coming. That's holy shit.
Set design was great, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely was. And then she gets a call, and you hear the like, hey, you're running late for Miss Ruby's birthday party, whatever. And the way she gets in his vehicle, the white car, drives there, and they really have you thinking that she's about to pull up, and I
thought she was going to kill the family.
Yes, I think that was intentional. That's what you're supposed to think.
Because it sounds like the devil's on the phone.
Yeah, and it was her mom.
Yeah,
funnily enough. Yeah, you know? And then, God, I'm glad nobody else showed up for that birthday party.
Yeah, it's an awkward birthday party.
Yeah.
I was expecting her to walk out back, and there's just like 30 kids, and she just started...
See, that's what I thought. And I was like, ooh, I hope that's not what they're going to do.
And then she just walks inside, and...
No matter what kind of movie you're trying to make, that's never okay to watch.
Miss Ruby's sitting with the doll, and the dad's already getting affected. The mom's there, and her mom is there. And when the dad's like... will you help me? He's getting pissed about slicing the cake. And then she's like, I'll be right back. And he's like, no, I'll be back. You'll still be in the kitchen. And then you just hear her get murdered. Oh my gosh. Insanity.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. The layout is insane. And you never expected him to get affected by it. I knew that that her birthday thing, especially when the whole movie's about birthdays, I'm like, obviously that's going to be important. But I didn't expect him, just to see him get affected. Whoever that actor is, by the way.
Blair Underwood.
Blair Underwood.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Flip that switch. Did it very good.
Yeah.
Mom's creepy. The daughter's creepy. I mean, just Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh.
You want to hop over to the meh?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go to the meh. I think some of the, we talked about it. Nicolas Cage did great. He was
isms.
awesome,
yeah.
But some of his isms were a bit much. Mm-hmm. I would probably put that in the meh, especially the scene where he's driving and he just starts screaming, "Mommy, Mommy, Daddy, Daddy!"
See, I said this to you before we started recording, but that was the first time I was like, probably the only time too, where I was like, that is Nick Cage. Yeah. I knew it was him, but that was the first time I really, because that reminds me of the scene in Kick-Ass where he's getting burned and he goes, "Switch to kryptonite!" And, you know what? So that was the first time I was like. At first, I actually was into that. Yeah. I was into that scene. But as it kept going, I was like, eh.
Yeah. Another thing I want to put in the meh, it's a weird thing to knock a movie for. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this movie has a lot of replay value.
Agreed.
I don't know if this is a movie. I'm glad I saw it the first time. I had a great experience.
Me too.
But it's disturbing
great experience.
I don't know if I'd want to revisit it.
See, I said that to you outside the movie theater as well. I'm like, that was a really good movie that I will absolutely not be buying.
See, I thought you were talking about another movie we were talking about, and I was like, I thought you hated that movie. I thought you were talking about Lisa Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where I got confused. But yeah, I agree with you.
I don't
know if I'd revisit this.
It's like one of those things where I tell my friends to watch it. And maybe like if you were over here and you got some of the guys like Brennan and Jesse and all those guys to watch it, I would probably watch it again. But
I would never watch this by myself.
No. Oh, no, I would never do that.
No way. There's no way.
I'm
not saying this is the scariest movie of all time, but this is a movie you don't watch by yourself.
It's one that definitely personally makes me feel a little...
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And my buddy Austin's going to watch this by himself tomorrow.
No shot.
Before work, and I told him, I was like, all right, like, I don't know if you should, but...
If he's going before work, he might be in a theater by himself. If it's a matinee showing on a Friday.
He's probably watching it in Philly, too. And that New Philadelphia Quaker Cinema, sometimes people... I've gone to a movie there by myself.
Dude.
So he could.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not a movie meant to be watched by yourself. And even in general, even if you did invite everybody over and everyone wanted to watch it, I might not show up anyway.
Yeah.
Because it is just one of those movies that's like, it's not like Zodiac where it's like, oh, murder and you feel gross. It's just like the message in it, it's like, you just don't want any of that shit floating around your aura or whatever words you want to say. I don't care. Your vibe. I agree.
Yeah.
Replay value, I don't think this is the one I'm rewatching.
Yeah, not really. I don't have anything in the bad, and that's basically it for the bad. A lot of this movie falls in that good or even great category. Mm-hmm. It's just some of the good's not as good as other good.
Yeah.
And then it just doesn't have a lot of replay value for me, and some of the cageisms are there, but
yeah.
I mean, I really can't think of anything else
that's about
that
all
I can
have.
Knock on the movie.
Honestly, beyond that, I will say this is a kind of a minor thing, but at the very, very beginning of the movie where it's like all red and whatever, I had a really rough time looking at that.
Yeah.
That made my eyes physically hurt, and I've already been like kind of weaning myself off of being sick recently, so I'm like, don't like that.
Yeah. Well, then it starts with the red, and it shows like a quote from a song, and then it flashes black, and it goes back to that red.
Yeah.
And then it starts the opening credits, and I'm like, why don't you just stay red? That kind of threw me off, too.
That, and
again, that's nitpicking.
And even where it like transitions into the car driving, like the color palette went from like gray or some shit to like color or whatever.
Yeah.
And that also was like, I hate looking at this.
That's fair.
And I was like, God, let this not be the rest of the movie. It wasn't.
Yeah.
And I was so locked in that whenever you get red flashes of snakes or whatever the hell, which that was kind of, I get what they're saying with that, because like the idea is like Satan was once basically a snake with hands and legs, and God was like, I don't fuck with you, so he got rid of his legs, and that's why snakes don't have legs or whatever. So I get that was like imagery for Satan, but I was like, it was kind of random.
Yeah, because if you don't understand that, you're probably like, what the hell are these snakes on the screen for?
And again, it just reminds me of Prisoners, another movie that I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, the snakes in the tub or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
a
a
movie.
Really random thing. That's a fantastic... That director's done some good stuff. You want to talk about it?
No. Another day.
We already did.
Did you have anything in the bad?
No, I had nothing in the bad. The bad was really just those minor... None of these things would even make me drop, like, really even maybe half a point at best.
Yeah. So we'll hop to our final thoughts and ratings. What do you want to leave off with Longlegs, and what do you give it out of 10? The moment of truth.
No. This is the part I've actually been dreading.
Yeah.
Because, like, it is a good movie, but I don't feel good calling it a good movie.
For sure.
Because you don't feel good. And even, like, I like watching a depressing movie. I watch a movie where someone offs themselves or whatever, and it's sad. And I'm like, that's touching. I like that.
Yeah.
This isn't like that. It's just like, oh, that just ruins your day.
Yeah.
But it's made so well. And it's like, the craftsmanship is chef's kiss, the music... The cinematography, we should have mentioned the cinematography.
Well, you kind of did with how he shot it, the direction.
It's true, direction. But cinematography, we should have looked up the cinematographers, because that was great shots in there. A lot of great shots in there. Yeah. So there's a lot to love about this movie. But at the end of the day, I just feel so gross, that movie. I don't want to see it again. Yeah. I don't even know how I'm going to do once this is over. But all in all, I think I'm going to have to give it... stuck between an 8.5 and a 9.
8.5 and a 9? Okay.
Can I just say I'm stuck there? Or do I have to
8.75?
Let's give it an 8... an 8.75.
8.75?
Literally, I want to give it a 9, and I'm just like, but the whole movie's just so demonic. I'm like, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
It's literally, that's the only thing stopping me. I know it's the most pussy shit.
No, that's fair.
But, God.
I'm going to go 8.5. Mm-hmm. I think it was a great movie. I agree, though. It definitely leaves you feeling some type of way. And, It doesn't have a lot of replay value, but again, I'm glad I went and saw this. I think the claims for it were a little high, but it didn't disappoint.
It didn't disappoint. It just was different.
Yeah. I think when I heard those claims, I set the bar higher than I would have had I not heard those claims, but I never was going to set the bar at Silence of the Lambs 7 level.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
No.
I wasn't going to go there and be like, okay, I'm expecting this to be a 10 out of 10 or high. Like, I'm expecting this to be the best picture of the year. I was never expecting that. I was expecting, honestly, between an 8 and a 9, and I got that. So they met my expectations. I was very pleased with, like what you said, the craftsmanship, the filmmaking itself was well done. And shout out to Perkins once again for
absolutely
his direction.
I'm interested to see what he's gonna make from here, because that's obviously this is the movie that's obviously gonna give him he's got the name now.
Yeah.
So just out of curiosity, where do you sit with horror movies this year? First of all, what genre would you even put this movie in? Because I guess it's a thriller.
I put it in a horror thriller. I consider
thriller
thriller like a subgenre of horror anyway.
Yeah.
Now there are thrillers that don't fit under horror, but this is definitely a thriller on the horror side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where do I sit so far this year? I'd probably go Magazine at 1, Late Night with the Devil at 2, or no, Abigail at 2, Late Night with the Devil at 3, and then I'd probably go The First Omen at 4, and then 5th, either this or In a Violent Nature. Those ones, they're both kind of on par with each other.
Wow. We've had a pretty good year for horror so far, then.
Yeah, we have.
Honestly.
There's been some stinkers. That happens in the first 3 months of the year.
You didn't love Night Swim? Just kidding.
Night Swim, Destroy All Neighbors, Imaginary, Sting.
Yeah. Boy, those were 2 movies
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was a pleasant surprise.
You know what? Yeah.
It's not in the top 5 of horror, but it's
I still haven't seen Late Out with the Devil, but
it made me more excited to see what this whole Pooniverse is about. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when you hear a claim like that, we're making a universe, a Pooniverse, if you will, featuring those characters. You're like, I'm gonna have to see that.
Yeah, you definitely need to see Late Night with the Devil, though.
Yeah, I think that would probably be my top spot. But for right now, I think this does sit on top.
Okay.
On top of.
You like this more than Magazine? Wow.
I think see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't like this movie, but it's so good.
Yeah.
But Maxine is like, I would rewatch that movie, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, that's got the 80s vibes. It's fun. It's cool.
And you haven't seen The First Omen yet either, have you? Or In a Violent Nature.
No.
Those are 2 that you definitely need to watch as well. You saw Abigail.
Yeah, it's below Abigail, for sure. Abigail's probably on the bottom so far for horror. Oh, no. It's above Winnie the Pooh. I forgot about that. Winnie the Pooh's still solid. Don't get that wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't love Abigail like you did. I still give it an 8. A solid 8. But yeah.
A lot of good horror movies, though.
Yeah, honestly.
And we're not even done.
No, we're only a little over halfway.
We still got Cuckoo. Looks interesting. I think that might be more on the thriller side. We got Smile 2.
Yeah, we have Smile 2, and we have
Terrifier 3.
Not wrong. Shit, I forgot about Terrifier 3. Did you see they just revealed some Terrifier pops?
Yeah.
They finally got some. But also we have 2, not just 1. That should have been 0, but we have 2 Strangers movies coming out.
I was going to say Nosferatu.
I think they delayed those Strangers movies, so there might be 1 this year and then 1 next year. But
yeah, we still got Robert Eggers' Nosferatu too, man.
Oh, yeah, that might be top spot. Ooh, that's gonna be.
We got a lot of, and that's just horror. I'm not talking about the rest of the movies we've got. There's some movies that I'm excited for as well,
Absolutely.
like non-horror movies.
We still got Deadpool, Joker. Wow, you can tell what I watch.
But yeah, man.
Venom 3, Craven.
2024 might go down as one of the better years for the genre of horror.
I know, and we were expecting some, especially whenever we were doing Movie Mag, we're expecting some Strike Zone trash.
And we got that at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Night Swim.
Yeah.
I'm mostly...
Here's to you, kid.
I can't remember what else we watched other than The Beekeeper, which I liked. But I remember everything being a disappointment during that
Mean
time
Girls.
period. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, you're right.
Argyle
sucks. Argyle really sucks.
I thought it was all right.
I think
I enjoyed Lisa Frankenstein. You did not.
I hate that movie.
Madam Web.
That's a bad movie.
Bob Marley was like the first decent movie we got of the year.
I like that movie more than you.
Yeah.
I give that an 8.
And then Driveway Dolls, then Dune.
Driveway Dolls sucks. I
like Driveway Dolls.
I hated that movie.
Then Dune.
And then Dune is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Behind the Batman.
6th best movie of the year.
Yeah, I can't. Yep. Let's end this.
That'll do it for Longlegs. Kory, thank you
Drew
for
my
coming
eye
on.
juice. I just fucking went balls deep in my eye.
There you go. There you go.
Eyeballs deep. Kept
Eyeballs
it PG.
deep. There you go. Unlike Longlegs. But thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, please check out some of these other videos. Hit the subscribe button or follow the social links down below. Kory and I also have another project coming soon, so be on the lookout for that. And we appreciate you as always, and we will talk to you all soon. Peace.